Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Goosebumps Horror Town playthrough. This is part 2 to Be Afraid, Be Very Afraid. I know these seems to be lacking a little bit, and I do apologize, but it is in the hot months, and oh boy is it getting warmer here. But regardless of that, by the time this video comes out, this event has already been over, and there is a lot to say. But for this particular order, we're going to be taking a look into a new character, Mr. Zarwood. And this is what he looks like right here. He is a wizard, as you could probably see. He looks kind of like one of those weird magicians, kind of like, I'm going to read your thoughts, kind of hypnotist type of deal. You know what I'm talking about. Those kinds of shady kind of characters. But the interesting part about this whole thing, and the reason why we're going to do this, is because, well, I'll explain that when we get into the gameplay. But something I did forget to talk about in my part 1 is with these guys. These guys are Sir Esqueal and Jacko. These two are the HTTV hosts. HTTV stands for Horror Town Television. And I'm guessing that these guys are basically... Now, you probably already know Jacko is represented of me from my reference, but you might be wondering about Sir Esqueal here. Now, I stated that this is actually based on Erasmo, the guy who I mentioned back in June, as well as other stuff here. He is also been featured. Now, you might be thinking, Grim, is this guy an old man that looks like... No. The reason why he looks like this is because he actually utilizes the Monopoly Man, you know, penny bags, that guy. Yeah, that's the reference he uses, or what the avatar he uses for the group. So they decided to base it off of that, and yeah, it makes these two very wacky characters, and I certainly do like the aspect and the chemistry they have with the whole story you're about to find. It's a shame they're not real characters, but hey, maybe in the future, we'll never know. But regardless of that, this part we're going to be taking a look into more or less Mr. Zarwood's quest, as well as the quest of what this Be Afraid, Be Very Afraid storyline has to offer. So let's just go ahead and dive right in. So as I mentioned before, you might be looking at this and going like, wait a minute, why is this guy just here frozen in place? That is because one of the gifts that the devs actually give me is not only having my character be represented in the game, but as you'll see in this Independence pack, that Zarwood is no longer here. That is because they decided to put him into my game for free, which is a very nice thing for them to do, and I will admit this is something I have to disclose, but anyways, I'm going to have to buy the pack anyways. But regardless of that, let's dive into his quest.
You're a wizard, Mr. Zarwood.
Good evening, everyone. Well, as you know, this is our first day in Horror Town, and we're both absolutely excited.
Yes, Jacko, I can't wait to mingle with all the monsters. But first on our agenda, we're going to go into great mystery that has been puzzling Horror Town since last Saturday.
Ladies, gentlemen, monsters, montresses, we're at the gate of the new neighbor, Mr. Zarwood's palace. We wanted to find out where he came from and why he decided to move into this horrific town.
And here he comes! Mr. Zarwood, Mr. Zarwood! May we ask where you come from? Why did you decide to move into Horror Town?
Look, I'm just a regular citizen looking for some peace and quiet in my new home. I don't think that's too much to ask. I'm looking forward to making new friends, and that's why I'm hosting a yard sale this afternoon. But until then, I'd like to spend some alone time, if you don't mind.
So we're going to have him do some magic card tricks, some enchanting, as well as getting some of the Afraid decks. So this is what his quests are like. I'll talk about Feed Sparkles in a little bit during this video, but this is all he has to offer. Now, Zarwood is interesting. You might be wondering what is his voice all about? Well, I've kind of based the voice off of the Dr. Robotnik from the Saturday morning cartoons. I think he was voiced by the guy who also does Winnie the Pooh, so yeah, I think the guy looks fitting enough to have that voice. The snibbly kind of, you know, sidekick guy that he has there. It was an interesting show. When I was younger, I didn't really like it, but I digress. We're getting off topic here. Yes, so that is this guy. So we're gonna have him do that for a little bit with him, just shuffling cards as we speak. And, wow, this event has certainly been very interesting, I will say, and a lot interesting more than others, due to my a character based off of me. It's very weirdly bizarre, I'll put it that way. You'll also mention or see during this part that you might see another quest line on the side here. I will not focus this much on that right now due to, it will be in its own little video. That is the bad hair day thing. And, yeah, you might be wondering why this house is way over here. Well, whoever decided to put this, his palace, decided to just place it wherever nearby, and that was the space. I'm surprised that palace fit into that little area, but, I digress. It ended up managing fitting there. I've decided to put it for now where the other areas are here. What I'm about to show you, though, is that there were some items that had some old event items there. Usually the Halloween and the Secret Agent Grandma and the Halloween back had some items that are spawning stuff that have yet nothing to show for it. So I'm just showing you the items here. Actually, now. Well, now that's the wrong thing, but I'm trying to click on the pumpkin, which I don't think I can, so I guess they removed that. I'm going to show you the other buildings here. One of them being the Otto's Artisans, it now drops that, and if you go to the Cindy's Cake Shop, it now drops cookies. And it's interesting what will happen once the other items come into effect, but this game's ever changing. Right, the other thing I wanted to show off here that I forgot to show is the new scene, how much it costs drops once you get it in your town. Unfortunately, at the time, I was trying to touch this, but keeps on getting to the peanut van and the magic tree and Selma's van, car, house thing. So I decided to do this real quick just so I can finally click on, there we go, the vending machine. So it's 1,000 to cost to summon her, which isn't too much from, you know, what we've seen in the past, but we're curious now about something a little bit more easier. What does the secret hatch cost? 2,000. So there you go. So there's that. Also, might as well show you the Headless Horseman. Now, this is what his stuff cost here. I'll show him off this time around, although I will further explain a little bit more in detail later on. Anyways, the Independence Pack, real quick, pop up that we've now known to expect when it comes to games like this. It makes it inconvenient because normally I would have bought in that pack and it would have made my life a little easier, but now I have to wait a little bit until his separate thing comes into play. Also, I'll talk more about the Bad Hair Day in its own separate video, but there's a lot to talk about when it comes to just the problems I've had. One of the reasons why it took so long is because there was some errors I was going through, which I'll explain more what was going on in that particular update. I'm hoping that they've ironed out when it comes to the newer stuff, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and have him do this other animation. Yeah, okay, I was frustrated because I wanted to show him front first, so there he is. There's what he looks like when he's in the front. So, got to see that. Now, with that being said, Mr. Zawood is interesting because normally his quest line follows right after Connor's, and you need both of them in order to finish the book. Spoiler alert. And I'll talk more about that in the review with the whole book thing and what it caused to drop the stuff. But what I will say is that it's kind of weird how the quest is so set up. I've kind of gotten used to how they did back in the Secret Agent Grandma, where they will stop the quest line when it gets to a certain point and then start it back up once it's past the storyline, which I actually preferred them doing. So hopefully in the future they may be able to fix that, because I'll give you another spoiler. In part 3, Mr. Zawood's quest is going to ruin the surprise in part 4. Like, as we expect with this game, they always like to ruin the surprise of the story, so I'm going to give you a big spoiler alert with that. Part 3 will be interesting because I think that will be a video that I'm going to tell you is going to be a big warning of the one we've seen in February. But anyways, okay everyone, back to their places. We're on in 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, everyone. Here's Suri Squeal for your morning broadcast, and I'm really excited to tell you that my pal Jacko and I have just arrived in mysterious Horror Town. A town that had quite recently been tormented by none other than its very own mayor.
Oh wow, Suri Squeal. How did that happen, and how are things looking out for Horror Town now?
Well, my good friend, it seems the mayor lost it after her son disappeared and had the amazing idea to transform into a strange alien that started destroying the city.
A strange alien. Okay. I'll give it that they're referencing the whole World of the Worlds alien thing, but transforms into an alien. Come on, we all know it's Shock's invention.
And I'm not gonna lie to you, the outlook's not good for Horror Town right now. Things have been going downhill for a while here. But after what happened, disconnect is growing.
Let's just say the story we're going to see is gonna get real interesting.
Not once did some things like this happen in Tatamotistan. It's that the mayor would attack her own town.
I seriously hope I pronounced that properly. I think I didn't. But other than that, why are you saying you come from Germany? We all know that's not the place. Germany, quote-unquote, is down under, where it's very, very hot.
She took out tax money to do that, and they say I'm the bloodsucker.
Oh, nice to see you come back, Yvonne. How's that hunt for Nightwing doing for you?
The problem is that she was trying to control the monsters instead of listening to their needs.
You're absolutely right, Will. This town needs someone who can emphasize with everybody.
It all goes down to the economics. We need to be able to boost our economy, or else
all our social developments will be useless. Thank you, Richie. That's what I've been saying.
Nice. Oh, great. My character and Compton is going to work together. I wonder if this is going to turn into something bad in the future. Alright, so anime hunt for toy treasures, place Courtney and Will billboard, and obtain some 10 dice. You probably already noticed where this is going. A lot of the townspeople are going to form their own little parties and actually run a little election, as it were. And, oh boy, does the story finally kind of get unfolded here. And one of the interesting things that I'm going to further explain on my whole point, I'm hoping they're going to be doing this more for Kim, or Dr. Kim, as well as Firefighter Florence, or Floyd. And that is the fact that giving these guys more personalities and characters. What we're going to see with the officer is that she, oh man, her story quest line is certainly very intriguing with how it turned out. And well, oh man, the part 3 is certainly going to be very interesting because I'm going to be more loosey-goosey with my language. But don't worry, I'll self-censor myself. But yeah, word to the wise, it's going to get real intriguing. I will mention, though, when it comes to our new TV hosts, that Jacko really is creepy because of the fact that he really sounds like what I would say. And I'll talk more about that. You'll see what I mean later on in this part because he has my mannerisms. So, oh yeah. And what would my my videos be without visiting Slappy's town, which has yet to change? He just loves Valentine's Day. What happened? You changed it for March and you just changed it back. Okay, whatever. Anyways, we're done with him shuffling the cards, and now we're going to see him doing his enchantment stuff because I believe he has finished getting the... No, not yet. We haven't gotten the decks yet, but whatever. Alright, so we're going to do his enchantment, or encharming, it's what it's called, but I'm calling it an enchanting card. Well, all it is him showing the deck and then just, or his card, and it's just going on fire, being magic. And yet no one, I love the fact that people are like, man, who is responsible for this chaos that's happening here, right? And they're pointing fingers, and yet no one in this town is pointing to the obvious culprit with the cards in his hand. to be the culprit of what's going on with horror, like everything. Like, you know what, this is the first time the story is being used by, or being made by someone within the like the actual group, without it being like based on the communities thing. So I'm very happy with the results. I'm more interested to see where this leads on to, but yeah, oh boy. It's gonna be interesting too in this part while we take a look into, and I'm gonna be doing Vanishing as the next one just because I need the cards. So he's gonna poof into thin air. Now, something weird about his animation, you'll see he's hoarding his cards, right? And when he disappears, his cards are still there, which is very bizarre in the sense that that's just there. I love the little details where he disappears but not his items. But what's even stranger, at some point when he goes ahead and you see him like in the front, you'll notice that the cards just magically disappear. So I have no idea what's going on here, where the animation has like 2 cards in his hands when he's walking and disappearing and reappearing. But then when he goes and turns around, notice how the cards aren't there anymore. Very strange indeed. He's a very strange wizard, I must say. Also, that was a terrible anagram for his name. Oh, and speaking of which, we're going to be talking about the dragon. He has a name, or it has a name, which I'll go into later on in this quest line. But the dragon certainly reminds me of something. Here's a hint. Oh, look at that big boy. Man, look at this guy. He's just huge. I love him already. But, you might be noticing the background music, and, well, let's put it this way. If you know what this background music is, then part 4, when I go, because I have nothing else to talk about in part 4, when I go ahead and talk a little bit with the dragon, what he looks like, you might already get the idea. Ooh, I have to say, though, this music is pretty fun, and, like, you know, it's very catchy. The game is it's from the N64, Nintendo 64, back in when the polygons were becoming a thing. And I think what I'm going to do for meme-wise is that when this guy gets summoned, you're going to be hearing this song. However, when he's not on screen, he's going to be... The only exception is if the song he's going to hear is if it's if it's near him or his little spawn area, that's when you're going to hear the music. Otherwise, it's totally going to be silence for this whole thing. But, yeah, this is the dragon, and I really do love the animation to put on this guy, and there he goes. He's back in his little hidey hole. Oh, man. So, yeah, like I said, this guy has, I'm guessing it's a guy. He has a name. His name is Sparkles, and it's a very bizarre, stupid name, but, hey, apparently it's owned by the wizard himself, because you may have noticed that there is a little quest he has called Feed Sparkles, and it shows a picture of a rock. And what's interesting about that rock is that it's hidden within the area. So what happens is that he goes into the air of the little spawn area, and it's shown as if he's going into the building, the spawn area building. Now, I think the reason they do this is the illusion of them entering inside the actual spawn area, because I'm thinking because of the properties, it's not a building or a house of sorts, so characters can't really go into places that are craftables or their spawn areas for logical reasons, right? Because the pop-up menus are just going to be screwy. So what they end up doing is that they end up putting a little item on the side, so that way when it comes to, they'll just say go to this item and then place their spawn. Either they'll hide them or they put their spawn somewhere on the map that will make it look interesting. So that's like what happened with Lucy and Mr. Mortman when it comes to the HTTV building, because they're using the Jacko and Esquili little billboards. By the way, I want to point this out. Why don't we have the little Esquili and Jacko billboards? I want them. I want them in my town. I want to do a lot of them, just advertise these two goofballs. I love the chemistry. I love how they're both weirdly different from one another. I'm guessing one's a monster, the other one's a human, but yeah, 23 days. Man, it felt like this thing went so long, and also just felt like it just went by real quick. those are the spawns of the, I'm guessing the event currency this time is like little buttons.
Ah, finally home alone, without those annoying TV hosts. You'd think I was a celebrity, being followed by paparazzis like that. But I guess it's good that they're here to record Horror Town's downfall. After the yard sale, something as simple as a deck of cards could be Horror Town's doom. And no one will ever know who caused it.
Except for the guy who announced it. But hey, that's just me. I'm just, you know, ugh.
So you're saying you don't have the deck of cards, little crook?
I'm not a crook, I swear. I don't have anything to do with any dragons.
Oh, this is where we introduce to Connor. He'll get more introduced in the third part. But for now, here he is. He looks awfully familiar, doesn't he?
Okay, young man, if you insist on denying it. But I should tell you, you've been dealt the wrong cards, if you know what I mean. Oh yes, everything's going according to plan. The kid has the deck of cards, and I can look as if I didn't know anything. What's that I see? Oh, Connor's just thrown the deck of cards out the window. This is absolutely spectacular. I can involve the whole town in the game now.
I like to point out Mr. Zarwood's quest was supposed to be for a later point, so what you're going to see is that this whole story, he's going to spoil everything for you, so apologies on that. Yeah, like, again, it's going to be weird. Part 3 is going to be the worst part about that, but anyways, one of the things we have to do is get the D20 dice, which is easy because I'm a premium player. But his quest that we had to do was feed Sparkles. And this is when you get to realize who's Sparkles. So where is he going? Well, let's see. So he's supposed to go to a rock, right? So where is this rock located? Well, let's see where he's heading into. I think I have a bet. I already told you where it is, but oh, here it is. Oh, look! What's that? Oh, he's feeding the dragon. That's right. The dragon has a name. This is his pet, apparently. Yeah, Sparkles. What a stupid name for a dragon, but you know, it's you know what would even be better than Sparkles? Call it Fluffy. Just like oh no, if we call it Fluffy, then we'll get confused with another wizard character, which, you know, it's already bad enough that we had to use a Harry Potter reference for his questline called You're a Wizard, which by the way was brought up by me.
Well, that's just not right. Money isn't everything. You can't build a peaceful society if you just think about cash.
That's right. Laughter is the best medicine, not money.
Oh, look, it's the clown.
Well, do I sense the sweet smell of friction here?
And who are you to say that, Walter? What would a simple pharmacist such as yourself know about politics?
So you think just because you managed your stupid mall, which by the way did nothing but bring more chaos, you know better than me?
Okay, everyone, let's just calm down. The yacht sale's about to start. Let's just go down there and stop fighting.
Man, that mall must have pissed a lot of people off. I wonder why. I mean, it's just a few updates ago.
First of all, as acting mayor of Horror Town, I'd like to thank everyone for joining me in the opening of this yard sale, courtesies of the wonderful new namer, Mr. Zarwood.
Have you seen that man's palace, Agatha? It's quite impressive. He must be really wealthy.
Shh! Don't be disrespectful, Eugene. It's not nice to talk about someone you haven't even met.
Funny you'll mention that.
Mr. Zarwood, would you like to get on stage and say a few words?
I guess so, if I have to. Hello, new neighbors, and welcome to the yard sale. Have fun. Well, that was Kurt.
Quite an impression Mr. Zarwood left Mortman, didn't he? Anyways, place the toll booth and obtain some vote cards. I'll when the toll booth comes in, I'll show more of that off. But yeah, the reveal of what this promenade is it is a yard sale. Although it looks like a barbecue little event area, but no, it's a yard sale. Very bizarre yard sale, especially since the yard sale actual building is like this weird old I think in part 3 I'll show that off, but yeah. Anyways, yeah, that's one of the buildings we get, or one of the decorations we get. But anyways, continuing on.
So, breaking news, everyone. Mr. Saulwood had just announced the whole town is now involved in a cursed cards game.
It appears Horror Town has no choice but to play unless they want to coexist with dragons and some disturbing creatures called Jekylls from the rest of their lives. I should also mention that the Jekylls look awfully familiar, like that one movie that James Cameron made. I know that's not part of the story, but I'll mention about the Jekylls in part 3.
And most disturbing of all, Jacko, are the consequences to this game. Whoever wins will be proclaimed king of Horrortown and rule forever.
There's a lot at stake here, Ezekiel, and I want to find out more about the man who announced it at all. Mr. Zarwood, can you tell us where you got all the information about the game?
Yes, Mr. Zarwood. How do you know so much about it?
I don't answer questions.
That's exactly what a guilty man would say. Yeah, very suspicious, don't you think? The man who has cards in his hand, you not at one point maybe think he might be responsible? And the fact of the matter is with the Jekylls, they're very, ooh boy. There's a lot to talk about in part 3, especially their cost. But anyways...
Hey, Lucy! I don't want any of this old used stuff. Let's go play some video games. Why do we have to come to the yard sale in the first place?
Come on, Dustin. Let's just have a look around. Might find something interesting.
Hey, have you guys seen that new kid walking around? They say he and his mom moved in Horrortown last weekend. Let's give him a welcome to town wedgie.
Hold on a minute. He looks familiar. Oh my! It's Connor! I know him! We used to go to the school together before I moved to Horrortown. Hey, Connor! What are you doing here?
Hey, Emily. I can't believe it's you. I've forgotten you moved here, too. My mom and I just moved here Saturday. It's so nice to see a familiar face. I've been bored out of my mind.
Well, these are my friends Lucy, Dustin, and Marty.
When has Marty ever been your friend? I'm sorry, please continue.
Why don't we all do something together? There's some board games over there. Let's see if we can find something fun.
Yeah, when has ever Marty become a friend? I feel very bad for the guy. Hey, Walter. I just wanted to say that I know not everything about money, but it should be our top priority. Once we get the economy fixed, it'll be easier to fix everything else.
I'm so sick of big corporations like you brainwashing.
Oh, boy, a big man. You had to bring your Shrek outfit out in there, huh, you big ogre? Oh, man, you can't fight your own battles there, eh, Walter?
Oh, dear neighbors, why do you drop the politics and enjoy yourselves? We wouldn't want to offend our new neighbor, Mr. Zarwood.
It's impossible to argue with scientists.
This isn't a lab, Walter. This is a real world.
Hey, what's going on here?
Anyways, place the yard sale, obtain some decks, and sell Be Afraid cards. It's a few errors I did. Number one, Marty said mother instead of mom, but I think it's more appropriate for him to say mom versus mother. Secondly, you might be questioning why did Reggie call Walter a scientist? He's a pharmacist. Well, they're technically scientists because they do chemical stuff, but whatever. It's technically correct, but I can see where people's confusion might be. Anyways, here's my favorite bit.
Hold on, Mr. Zarwood. We still have some questions for you. Mr. Zarwood! Mr. Zarwood! Wait a second. Zarwood? Zarwood? Oh my god!
Oh my god!
It's an anagram for withered!
Wow, you just figured that out now? Oh god. Are you seriously telling me you just realized this? Holy shit! Oh my god, he knew what I was about to say! Oh, this is scary! Oh god, we're both the same people.
What? You already knew?
Well, it was pretty obvious. I mean, well, whatever. We need to follow him and find out more about him. He seems to have some cards up his sleeves. This is getting scary. It's like exactly what I would have said. Maybe a little bit more fancy up, but still, this is creepy. It's almost as if someone's been watching me and recording, and then just looking at my mannerisms and just like, I think I know how to make this guy act and personalize, but that's just a conspiracy theory. I don't know about that. Anyways, yeah, this is him riding his magic carpet ride. Insert your joke of Disney's Aladdin. I can show you the world, everything. I can't play the song because as soon as I put in like 1 second of it, Disney just copyrights the video. So, yeah, do your magic carpet jokes or funny genie, Will Smith memes or whatever memes you'd like to think about. But yeah, when it comes to part 3, it'll be interesting talking about Connor because his design is interesting for what it's based off of what he looks like, and he kind of resembles somebody, which I may or may not show off and mention here, but that's neither here or there. And anyways, I think that might be it when it comes to the dialogues for now, because I think the next part is going to be more or less just finishing this off. Maybe not, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm just guessing here because I'm just looking at my zoomed in editor and I can't recall when I ended the dialogue exchange and when it began, but yeah, I was also going to put in the joke when it came to Ezekiel realizing that the Mr. Zawad was actually Wizard backwards. Or not backwards, but actually Wizard's name. I was going to do that joke where it was like Trolls 2. It's like, it's a goblin spelled backwards, but it wouldn't work because it's not really backwards. It's an anagram where it just mixed words together. Also, there is a weird... I'll give credit where credit is due when it comes to the person referencing when it comes to this book, because they're kind of faithful for the whole weirdness of it and what... everything about it just makes it so bizarre. Also, enjoy the small little music going on in the background here because the audio decided to cut off all of a sudden. As I mentioned, now we have the photo, the poll booth. Mrs. Mark can finally do something, and as you'll notice quickly here, a particular dummy is a logo on the side. It's a foreshadowing of what's to come. Anyways, this will be the amount of time we have left for this event, and there is one last thing to show off, and that is the role player pack. This is the pack right after the Independence pack came out, and this shows off the individual characters. By the way, this Horror King pack and the Independence pack is your only packs you can get the Wizard guy. If you don't get these packs in the beginning of the event, then you're kind of screwed on that one. If you're curious, this is what it looks like if you're new or you didn't get anything, and this is for both. Yeah, when it came to role player pack, it does actually comes with Emily, and it makes sense because she's more a part of this event. She's actually more a part of this event than I actually thought. It's nice to see that we're getting some more story when it comes to some of these characters. But that will be it from me. Yeah, so I have a lot to work to do. There's the part 3, part 4, the review, and most likely I'm going to have to also do some stuff when it comes to the next update. Now, the good news about this is that during this month, I ended up upgrading my phone to a new one. Now, I'm still working on the kinks, but there is one interesting fact with this new phone, and that it's able to draw on the screen. So I'm going to try something new when it comes to the part 1 as well as the Crafting 101 section for this update, and I'm going to see how well it turns out. If it works out, then it's going to be a lot more faster and cleaner in my case, and I think the audio is going to be a little bit better than the one on the other phone, but yeah, I think it's going to be a sacrifice to get things quicker and faster if I'm able just to say stuff on the fly while I'm doing stuff like I did back last year, February, when I was doing the beginning parts of archiving everything. Yeah, so that's about it from me. I hope you enjoyed what I had to offer with this part, and we're looking forward to seeing how this election and D&D event goes. So until then, I've been Grim. I'll be seeing you next time, and keep the roll on the dice. See your fate, for it shall too be your fate. I'm trying to feel wizardry.